I've never been afraid of anything in my whole life. Do you know why? Because I wish I was dead. What a rush.
Yipee-Ki-Yay, Mr. Falcon.
We're not gonna take it. I can't
what a rush.
I can't hear a Twisted Sister song or the name or Dee Snider's name without thinking that Dave Chappelle sketch. Not a sketch, it was actually his stand-up. Do you remember that?
Oh, I could just see Dave, like skinny Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
We're not gonna
take it. He was so young. It's that stand-up special he did where he was wearing that like blue denim shirt and he weighed like 90 pounds.
Hey, baby.
That was the sketch about what it's like to drive around with your white friend who isn't afraid of getting arrested, right?
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah,
because I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. That was part of the setting the scene. You know, he's like, he's got his music on. And, we're not gonna take it.
God. I'm sorry. I love Dave Chappelle.
Oh, the old Dave
phenomenal.
Chappelle, man. He made me laugh harder than I maybe have. His stand-up specials alone, but the show too. Like, huge part of college years, man. When a new one was on, it was like an event. You gathered in people's rooms, It
was required viewing.
Yeah, and God, they showed the repeats on syndication on Comedy Central every night. And that was one of the few channels they gave us in college where I went. And
yeah, and we later found out he made no money from that.
Yeah, it was all fucked. That was all pretty fucked, but whatever, we didn't know. Did you guys... Tom and I went to different schools that were like, 15 minutes apart?
Yeah, they're pretty close.
Yeah, but they were different. But so did you guys like have school cable or did you have real cable, like human cable? Do you remember?
Jeez, I don't remember. I think we had like school cable. It wasn't real. There was like nothing to watch.
Yeah, it
you
was
had to have
a limited
like a
package.
DVD player.
Yeah, everyone had something. Usually it was a PlayStation 2. Stood in as a DVD player for a lot of people.
I didn't even have a TV in my room my freshman year. I had nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
I brought the TV.
Terrible.
I was responsible for the TV. I had one of those. It was a 12-inch screen with a VCR built into it. That's what we were working with.
One of those.
Yeah, my roommate brought the PlayStation 2, and I had never owned or played a DVD before in my life. I came into college a VHS kid. That's all I knew. And for the first time, I lived somewhere where there was a DVD player. So I eventually bought a couple. I had my dad gave me a copy of our Blockbuster card, the family Blockbuster card. And there was a Blockbuster by school, and I had a car. So I used to rent movies and then have to pay ridiculous late fees.
Yeah, because it was a pain in the ass to return them.
Yeah. And I remember the first time my dad called me because he went to go rent a movie, and he was like, "Why the fuck did I have to pay like $12 in late fees?" I'm like, "Because I still have old school for like 3 weeks."
Oh, you just hung on to it.
Oh, dude, I was terrible with that shit. I would move out at the end of this. I eventually got my own account, and I got one at, I think there was a Hollywood Video near us too, and I got one there, and I was afraid to go back there after a while. I had kept so many movies for so long, and then it closed. I still have them. I still have those.
You still have those?
Yeah, I have the last movies I rented from there because I never took them back. I was afraid to go back because I was like, they're going to charge me like $200 in late fees. They might arrest me. And then the place closed, so problem solved through procrastination.
And you have a little piece of Americana.
Yeah, I guess. I have a lot of Blockbuster labeled DVDs because I used to buy them when they would sell them. Like, we've talked about this before, but if people don't know, when something was a new release, it was on the outside wall, and there were like 900 copies of it, right? Because everybody wanted to rent it at the same time. As it got older and people cared less, they would start moving copies to you can buy it previewed bin. And you could get movies for what, like $8 sometimes?
Yeah, it was pretty cheap.
Yeah, and they were DVDs, so they couldn't be too scratched. They wouldn't play, and they wouldn't sell them if they wouldn't play. So as long as you didn't care about the box or anything like that, you could. That's anything cheap that was a movie back then I would get because I had nothing.
It was about the content.
It was about the content, and it was about movies that none of your friends had that they could burn for you. Because we had that power, too, by the end of college, burning DVDs. That was fucking awesome. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. That was amazing.
Oh, man. I knew guys with huge, well, back then they were big hard drives of movies. It's probably nothing now.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's funny. I went the other way. I had my hard drive all full up with MP3 files. I would just download music.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't have a TV.
Do you remember
and I was,
that?
Like,
that
learning
was
guitar songs.
That was like a thing you did when you went to someone's house for the first time. You would be like, can I just put all your songs on my iPod? You know?
Yeah.
It was like a thing. It was like a weird social thing that existed for like 3 or 4 years. Because this is another thing too. When iTunes and the iPod and all that shit first came out, it wasn't copyright protected. The music wasn't like it is now. So if someone had it on their computer, you could just put it on your iPod and it was in your iTunes library after that, with all the misspellings that they typed in, the song names and band names and everything.
And everything was, half of it was wrong.
Yeah, I still have songs that I took from your computer on my huge like desktop at home.
No way.
I have like
I
Band
lost
of Bees.
all of that stuff.
Well, I mean, it's only the stuff I chose to copy, so it's not everything. But I have like all the Paul Carreri, that old stuff you used to have.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Remember that Band of Bees, like all that shit.
Band of
Tom
Bees was
Waits,
great.
all the Tom Waits stuff that I didn't have that I took from you. All the classic rock that you had. Yeah, dude, that was a thing that was really cool for a while, and then of course they locked it down, and if you weren't logged into, like, iTunes didn't even really connect to the internet unless you went to the store back then. Now, like, if you don't log into the right account to play the right song, it won't play. And it didn't used to be that way. All right, that's enough reminiscing there. We're going to get back to the reason we were talking about Dee Snider and fucking Twisted Sister in the first place. Your sisters, the proprietors of Monster Vegan in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Please stop by if you want a delicious vegan dinner.
Yeah.
And an awesome drink list, because we just went there and it was excellent. And what the fuck was the drink I had? Oh, it's an excellent day for an exorcism. Yeah, that's what my drink was called.
Yeah.
And it was tremendous.
I had the Boris Karloff's Old Fashioned.
And wasn't your meal called the Lon Chaney?
Yep, it was the Lon Chaney.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. Well, anyway, while we were there, they reminded us of a true gem from the cheapo bin of 1990s shit shingle horror movies, if you could call it that.
It's something.
We're talking about Strangeland from that's one word, Strangeland from 1998. 98. Now, my memory is terrible, obviously, especially when it comes to things from high school, because, boy. But our friend John, who we brought up once or twice before, this was his thing, right? This movie was his bag, and he exposed, I think, all of us to it at the same time. You, me, and your sisters when we were but children. Is this right? Like at your house, I have memories of this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're on point so
I'm doing
far.
good? Okay. It's always nice. And, man, we rewatched it this week for you, Jenny and Lauren, for you.
You did this to us.
And, man, I wasn't expecting it to hurt so bad. This was really fucking kind of rough to get through. Now,
It's brutal.
The only reason people ever bought or rented this movie is because there is a somewhat interesting image of who I now know is Linda Cardellini on the cover with her mouth sewn shut, right? And it's scary, and it's like, wow, I wonder how the fuck she got her mouth sewed shut.
Yeah, it begs the question.
It begs the question, and then I mean, you find out right away, and then you really should stop watching. D. Snyder, go ahead.
Yeah, for those who haven't seen it, let's run it down.
Yeah, there's
right.
Yeah.
Strangeland tells the tale of a man named Carlton Hendricks, who will go down in the annals of serial killers as, you know, for having the shtick of, like, I guess, piercing people to death.
This movie is so 1998. It fucking hurts. Like, everything about the piercing thing, the dipshit tow truck driver who just has to tell everyone what body modification is. For
all you kids at home,
the internet component is hilarious.
It really is.
It's just chat rooms. It's old school chat rooms, and it's the whole, oh my God, you met him online, he's gonna fucking murder you thing, which used to be a thing, if people can remember that. You used to actually be scared of people you would meet online, and you would, like, not supposed to give them information and stuff. I know, it's weird, right? But that was funny. That was the true, kind of the most true part of this movie was that's what those chat rooms were like, what they show them, like in the side chats that you could open up. That's how it all worked. However, every single person in this entire movie seems to have the same fucking interface somehow.
Yeah,
which is funny.
It was one less thing to design and put on screen, I guess. So I mean, it makes sense.
All right, so the setup is there's a cop. Right? There's always got to be a cop. There's a cop. It's Kevin Gage playing Mike Gage. They kept his last. I'm not making this shit up. Yeah, I know. It caught the eye. If you need to know who this is, you know Heat. You know Wayne Grow from Heat. This is Wayne Grow. He's the good guy in this. You want him to be Ted Levine, and he's not. And he
does look like the Temu version of Ted Levine.
Which leads me to mention that there are definite ripoffs in this movie from Silence of the Lambs. I mean, it's a serial killer movie, first off. Kind of. We'll get to that. But there's also like a fake, ringing of the doorbell. You think they're both the same house because it keeps cutting back and forth, and they're not.
Yeah, they do pull that trick.
They pull it very, very sloppily in this one. But go ahead, keep going. You were piercing.
Oh, yeah.
Piercing.
Yeah. It tells the tale of Carlton Hendricks, whose thing is piercing. He's the serial killer, and he lures people in through the chat rooms, and then once he gets you in his clutches, it's just you hear D. Snyder playing this character, just extolling about the transcendental nature and transformative powers of body modification.
I made a note about this. I have to find it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Hold on. This is worth it. Okay. So we also have to mention that this serial killer almost always goes by his internet handle of Captain Howdy.
Yep. Yeah, there's that.
Now, this could almost be forgivable if at some point in the film they mention where that comes from. And they don't. They don't
mention it once.
They just let it go. I guess so the cool kids knew they were cool. It's from The fucking Exorcist. So the movie that was, 20-something years old at the time. Captain Howdy delivers these monologues. It's like I don't know, man. It's like a kid with a GED that he got 4 years late just found a thesaurus and the concept of philosophy and just went nuts. Like, they're so, I don't even know the word for them, man. They're so trite and it's like a teenager reading bad poetry that
It really
they wrote.
is.
And his delivery couldn't be worse. Like, it's almost like he's reciting something from a hymnal. It's so bad. Like, it's so unnatural, let alone not menacing or whatever the fuck that they were going for. Dee Snider is like mostly naked most of the time, with fake tattoos all over him.
Yeah, how else are they going to show off those sweet tats and all those crazy piercings he's got?
And he's got Dee Snider hair, so that means it's super long but shaved on the sides real high, like a reverse mohawk. But it's pink when he's Captain Howdy, and his face is half tattooed, and he's got like I don't know, 15, 30 piercings in his face alone. I don't know. But yeah, this is his thing. He kidnaps people, men and women, and then pierces them up and puts them through all kinds of weird body torture, mutilation shits, sews their mouths shut, sometimes their eyes, and then like kind of lets them go. Like, he doesn't kill anyone in this movie.
I mean, yeah, he does.
One girl dies by accident because she had a heart attack whilst being tortured.
When they find the other girl in the trunk.
That's the same girl, isn't it?
No, right? They just find her in the trunk. It's Linda Cardellini's friend.
That car they pull up out of the water. Yeah, she died because she had a heart defect.
Oh, what about the one that was in that weird machine? Or that weird contraption where, like, he just, like
the long spikes?
Yeah, just
she didn't
her.
die. She was moving around at the end when the cop walked through.
Oh, so he's not even really a killer. He's just a serial piercer.
Yeah, a serial non-consenting piercer and sower of mouths, like a dragonfly.
Oh God.
My mother told me that when I was a kid.
Oh, dragonflies will sew your mouth shut?
Yeah. Did you get told that?
Yeah, I heard that too.
It's fucking
horrifying.
amazing. You're the only other person who ever heard that as a kid. I tell my wife that. She thinks I'm fucking crazy. Did my mother tell you?
I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure I heard it.
Maybe it was a Catholic school thing.
Yeah, maybe. But like, yeah, this movie. You know, and again, like I said this about another movie that we saw a bunch because it was around and we were big fans of the movie that preceded it, and it's The Crow City of Angels, and they both just like reek of like the rise of nu metal.
Yeah,
both of those movies are so nu metal.
Yeah, and man, like it's all the shit that parents were afraid of at the time, which was kind of Dee Snider's shtick, you know, because he was testifying in Congress against Tipper Gore and all that shit, and good for him.
Yeah,
but yeah, like it was like what was on Dateline that year, you know, gauged piercing, you know, scarification. Your kids are going out at night and they're hanging themselves from hooks in the ceiling to get kicks that you never dreamed of. They just didn't talk about ecstasy and serial killing. You know, that was the 90s, man. Piercing, fucking ecstasy, and serial killing. That's what it was.
Oh God,
I don't know, man.
The part with the helpful mechanic.
Yeah, that hurts.
The one when they find the, just to paint you guys a picture, they find a something in the trunk of the car next to a body. Like, what the bumbling cops are like, what the hell is this? And then the pierced up tow truck driver's like, looks like a septum spike. It's huge. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. It's a 00 gauge. Here's the history of gauges and body modification.
They pierce septums at 12 gauge. This is an 8 gauge. Get it? Like, it's so fucking bad.
That one looks like a 00. And he goes like, yeah, we're the new primitives. We're in touch with our inner selves and forsaking technology. He goes on this soliloquy.
The new primitives. You're not even exaggerating. He says that shit. Oh, God. And what's the name of the club that they hang out at?
Oh,
it's like
Zabulba.
the Mayan underworld, right? That's what that word is? Oh, Christ.
The guy, he goes, he probably goes to Zabulba. They're like, Zabulba, what's that? He goes, the door to hell. He just
And
that
also,
guy now,
as
for
far
our
as I
sake,
can
was just a font of information.
As far as I can recall, that was also what they called hell in the Spawn comics. And that was
Yeah, it's
huge
an
in the
old
90s too.
mythological
Oh, I know,
term,
but
yeah.
I mean for the 90s that was not original at the time to call it that is what I'm getting at. It was another just fucking wow. And that club is something else, huh?
Yeah, man. You look around and there's just dancing and heavy music. Oh my god, the band playing during
Bile,
that scene.
right?
Bile. Da-da-da-da-da. Pretty girl
on
with
ecstasy.
Oh,
She
God,
was
what
a fuck maid.
Slip, slip, slice, slice. What a stupid song.
It's so bad. Oh my god.
And like I know half the words to that song
Yeah,
because
because we
after
used to listen to it all the time. John
Yeah, our
played it
fr-
all the time.
he bought that soundtrack. He said, "Hey guys,
Yeah.
want to hear Bile?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure.
It was better than hearing all the fucking Twisted Sister songs that were on that fucking CD. Jesus
Oh,
Christ. And the club scene too. Look, I don't know, man. I was a kid in the 90s. I didn't go clubbing a lot. But I'm willing to bet that even at the most hardcore, I don't know, bondage clubs, you didn't have people in the middle of the dance floor, like
Being flogged.
piercing their own dicks. Like, I don't think that went down. You know, as
Oh,
far as I
God.
know, that's not part of the whole culture. But what do I know?
Do you remember what else happened during that scene? Like the guys walk out, and little do they know that like down a hallway and through a door in
Right.
the back
Right.
is the guy they're looking for, Captain Howdy, and he's up on the hooks. They have
Yeah.
these hooks
Yeah,
pierced
like
through
from
his
his chest, right? Yeah.
and he's hanging, and the guys standing around. They're like, "God, he's been hanging there for hours," and then they're like, "Oh my
Gotta
God,
take 'em
he's."
down.
We got to take him down. And then he wakes up. He's like, why am I still alive?
I almost crossed into the abyss. I was almost there.
And like, and then he flat out says, like, I'm not afraid of dying. And he sounds like he wants to die and I want to die. It's like,
Everyone wants to die.
I mean-
the only thing worse than him is the cops' dialogue. That's the only thing worse in this movie than D. Snyder. It's so bad. It's almost like
pretty
it was a joke. Like, is this a joke? Is this a half comedy? What the fuck am I watching? And then somehow they get Linda Cardellini in it, who was actually like, you know, kind of taking off at the time because Freaks and Geeks was on, right? And she has like 2 lines in the Scream ripoff beginning, and that's it. She gets kidnapped twice in the movie, but she never speaks again. Granted, her mouth is sewed shut most of the time. And we also have Freddy Krueger,
yeah.
who hilariously leads a charge of angry parents to go lynch Mr. Howdy.
Yeah, they do.
He's so persecuted
God.
for his piercing beliefs.
But because of Robert Englund's intolerance for the reformed Carlton Hendricks,
Right.
you know, we get that famous scene where they string him up and something happens and the branch breaks, and he comes very close to dying, and then he pops up from his near-death experience and turns to the camera and says, "Oh, what a rush!"
Like, that,
It's phenomenal.
I didn't think you could fuck up delivering that line. But he figured it out. He figured out how to do it. It's fucking terrible, man. It's like, okay, so you have to realize, don't watch this movie. We're going to tell you everything you need to know. When the cops catch him, Captain Howdy he gets taken down. And what I have
Pretty hard.
I have written down here that this is some of the worst dialogue in history when he gets arrested. Fuck my life, fuck my life. That was what I wrote down when I saw that part. So it's great. It's great. And then you look up at the timer and you're like, oh my, this movie is only half over. What else could possibly happen? Well, our Captain Howdy, we get a time jump of 4 years. And in those 4 years, he's been rehabilitated.
Absolutely rehabilitated.
He's on magic pills that he takes, I guess, 8 times a day. that keep his piercing desires at bay. He covers his face tattoos with makeup. His hair is a normal color, and apparently when he got off the piercing juice, he needs glasses now. So now he wears glasses.
Cardigan sweaters.
And has a thing for cardigans and dresses like Mr. fucking Rogers when he's old.
He really does dress like Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, they got him like doped up on lithium, and he turns into a douche. And then he gets lynched, and then he goes back to douchery because as he's getting lynched and taken away in the car, he drops his magic pills. And you know it's over right then and there. You know it's over.
Yeah, and he has something approximating his old favorite pastime, which is
getting a boner from pain.
Yeah, hanging suspended from someplace up above and almost dying.
David Carradine, peace, brother.
Yeah,
yeah. Remember, pour one out. Pour one out. Because it's a rough thing to be an actor, but to be an actor who dies famously from autoerotic asphyxiation, it's rough. Kung fu.
But at least he died doing what he loved.
You need a spotter. Is what you need when you go to do that kind of shit. You need a spotter.
Yeah, the buddy system, man.
Right? You don't want to die. You just want to get your rocks off, like Captain Howdy.
Yeah, like Captain Howdy. So one time, like way before we both rewatched this. Like we were talking about something else. I think it was House of 1,000 Corpses, and I misnamed Captain Spaulding. I said, "Oh, what was his name? Captain Howdy?" And you're like, "No, that's Captain Howdy's from something else." And I said, well, what was it from? You're like, "Oh, it was the AIM screen name of D. Snyder in Strangeland."
Yeah,
and it was also the AIM screen name of the devil in The Exorcist. I always thought that was funny. It's like, yeah, I guess if that would be like the devil's screen name.
Technically, yeah. Regan was, the chat bot, and yeah, it makes sense. It tracks. I know what I'm talking about. Fuck, dude. This one. And I was thinking there were moments, like the club scene was kind of cool in a very 90s way. And then
it was such a Crow knockoff.
Yeah, it was everything in the movie was a knockoff. But the parts where the cops are going through the rooms where he somehow gets like 8 people tied up and pierced up, right? I was thinking it's kind of amazing that this movie in better hands with a better cast, it could have been like an early Saw if it had been done right,
Yeah,
but there was a lot of things that needed to be done. Well, yeah, this was a D. Snyder production. He wrote it, he directed it, he produced it, he acted in it, kind of. He was in it. Hey, D, I know you're listening out there, so don't come after me. I know you're in New York a lot. Just don't come after me, man.
If D. Snyder hears this, I'll be fucking ecstatic. Yeah. And also, like, I'll say this, D, like, we watched it twice. So,
yeah,
I mean, you made something
at least
memorable.
Twice in our lives. And thank you for never making another fucking movie again. Thank you. It was bad. Fuck, man, this was bad. Like, it even robbed you of, like, the satisfaction at the end. Like, you see him hanging from a hook set on fire, and it's still not satisfying at the end. Like, all I could think was, like, fuck yes, shut the fuck up. Finally, he's going to shut the fuck up because he's on fire.
In that it's over.
Yeah, it's
and
over.
You can put something else on.
And Linda Cardellini is irreparably damaged from being kidnapped and pierced 9,000 times.
Yeah, she had a bad stretch.
And her dad's hairline will never recover.
Well, and also, like, I'm watching this movie the second time, and, like, I totally forgot that he was her dad because he shows what seems like zero concern for the fact that she's been abducted. Until
she gets rescued the first time, yeah. I had no idea. Rewatching it this time,
you never know that that's her dad.
No, until he finds her and tries to get her out of that cage thing. I had no recollection that it was her father, and there was nothing in the movie that told me that, or I missed it. You're right. It was just a fucking floppy mess.
you can't divine that detail from his like concern. He just looks like he's working a case, and you know, he's like, "Oh, here another
And
one.
again,
We lost another one."
If his daughter is the one who's missing, why the fuck is he working the case?
Yeah, shouldn't he's got to be like separated from that.
My favorite part was when he's in his car and decides he's going to chat with Captain Howdy on the internet on a laptop. How
Right,
the fuck in
before anyone could do
1998
that.
were you doing that from your car with you couldn't hook a cell phone up to a laptop back then. Like maybe the FBI could have, but
Yeah, Wi-Fi wasn't a thing yet.
no, like Blackberries weren't a thing yet, right? Like that shit barely even worked. It was fucking ridiculous.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. All I know is I was rocking a 28.8 modem on my Dell desktop at the time, and that shit seemed like wizardry. Just like Sandra Bullock ordering a pizza online in the net. It was wizardry.
The net.
The net. That's something we should do. We should compile the ultimate list of fucking movies
Like
based on chat
anachronistic
rooms.
technology.
Yeah, late 90s internet movies is what it is.
Like, hackers.
Hackers, the net, this one. There's, I don't know. I wasn't prepared for this, but there's others. I know there's others.
There are others. You mentioned like the magic computer viruses and like Copycat.
That's true. Copycat's a good
Like-
one. There's a lot of chat room shit
yeah.
in that. And then there's just
like-
magic computer movies too, like Weird
Enhance.
Science.
Enhance.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird Science is the best example. But there's a bunch of them where it's just like, oh, I don't know, he's a computer genius and he made his computer do this for us. It's like that thing is running fucking DOS, man. It can't do that kind of shit. Fuck it. It was a great time. Fuck Strangeland, dude.
I mean, I just want to say to my sisters, I love you guys, but why did you insist that we watch this again?
I hope they love this movie. They probably know it inside and fucking out.
They do. I'll bet you they do, and I'll
Yeah.
bet you that they agree with a lot of what we're saying, and they love it despite all of that.
Like, I
warts
could
and all.
see that almost. Like, Dee Snider is so awful in this. I could see many a joke being built upon it. But we don't have that. We just have this one hazy memory that has now been crystallized by rewatching this awful fucking thing.
I mean, yeah, if you had any hope of forgetting about this movie, like that's gone now. It's there forever.
I had to watch it on Tubi. Not only did I have to watch this thing, but I watched it with ads because it's the only fucking place it
Yep.
was, and I wasn't paying for this thing.
So did I.
Tubi. They're not a sponsor. I'm just saying it because I like it.
Tubi's dope.
Tubi's all right. I hate commercials, but what are you going to do?
They have a bunch of weird stuff.
They do have weird shit, and they have weird horror movies, which is great. Yeah, I don't know. This is not one that I'm going to be preserving in my library on disc for when the end times come.
Don't worry, it's living in your head, rent free.
Thank God. What a rush.
What a
What a rush. We're not gonna take it.